The Social Security System is a government agency in the Philippines, established on September 1, 1927, following the passage of Republic Act No. 1161 or the Social Security Act of 1954. The Social Security System is the government's response to its social obligations of providing social welfare to all employees in the private and public sector. Its mission is to establish, develop, promote, and perfect a sound and viable tax-exempt social security system which shall promote social justice and provide meaningful protection to members and their beneficiaries against the hazard of disability, sickness, maternity, old age, death, and other contingency resulting in loss of income and financial burden. The financial performance of SSS usually includes membership contribution, collection of loans, benefits granted to members, compliance with regulation, and its ability to pay its future benefit claims. Financial performance was examined through its financial management in terms of its credit, liquidity, profitability, default, viability, market risk, inflation risk, and investment risk. Decisions to mitigate risk that may arise due to fund deficit might possess risk of the ability of SSS to pay its future benefit claims. This study aims to provide a more comprehensive, knowledgeable, and findings to contribute actionable recommendation in addressing specific problems and issues associated with SSS for effective decision making. Objectives of the study includes identifying potential risk, recognize and documents potential risks that may impact the project, organization, or business, assess risk, likelihood, and impact by evaluating the probability and potential consequences of each identified risk using a risk matrix, develop risk mitigation strategies, create plans to minimize or eliminate risk with the use of risk response and planning, prioritize risk management efforts, allocate resources effectively based on the risk severity and likelihood, enhance risk awareness and communication, foster a culture of risk awareness and clear communication among stakeholders. To examine the financial performance of SSS, it is through identifying potential risk, assessing the scope and outcome of the risk, and evaluating the likelihood and probability of occurrence. Risk identification evaluates the potential risk and its classification. It identifies the type of risk associated with the social security system and how the risk will affect the overall operation of the institution by classifying the outcome and scope of the risk.
The first identified risk is the credit risk, the potential loss arising from the loans granted to members where they failed to meet its obligation according to agreed terms. Credit risk is a speculative risk because there is still possibilities that the loan will be paid and will gain profit, but there is also a probability that there will also be a profit loss or no loss depending on the ability of members to pay and the effective collection. The scope is particular because it concerns the effectively of collection of the credit department or credit manager and will not affect the whole operation.
In accordance of liquidity risk, it is a procedure which may lead to loss of payment obligations of the loaner. In the classification, the outcome is speculative risk because it has the possibility of loss, no loss or gain that depends on how the monitoring of cash flows of its future payment collectible. And its impact is fundamental risk because it's not only impacting to its company but it also impacts on the retirement benefits and financial well-being of its members. So, SSS relies members and employers' contributions to provide benefits. Non-payment or non-reporting of contributions by employers possess a liquidity risk, compromising fund sustainability. Next is we have the profitability risk. It is a kind of risk where institutions concentrate to evaluate diversification and income vitality, gauging financial resilience. In the classification, the outcome is speculative risk because it is contingent upon efficient collections and effective financial oversight. And its impact is particular risk because the SSS profitability is linked to finance department operation and staff efficiency. So, SSS reliance on limited membership contributions without diversifying investment compromising its assets and profitability. This exposure to financial risk hindered long-term sustainability.
Default risk refers to the possibility that borrowers cannot repay their debts, leading to financial losses for lenders. This risk is classified as pure risk as it results in either loss or no loss, depending on whether borrowers meet their financial obligations. The scope is fundamental because it arises from factors beyond anyone's control, potentially causing a fund deficit that impacts future benefits. In the case of SSS, loans given to members may result in defaults, turning into losses and bad equity for the fund. Inviability risk, its ability to generate the cash flow necessary to meet ongoing operational expenses and debt repayment. Viability risk is classified as pure risk because it has only possibility of loss or no loss due to demographic projection that will cause unemployment rate due to old age dependency by the increase of aging population than fertility rates.
Inflation rate risk is loss in purchasing power because the value of the investment does not keep up with inflation. Inflation in the social society system is speculative because the future rate is unpredictable, making it difficult to estimate the system long-term solvency and the value of future benefits. Inflation in SSS is fundamental because it affects the entire economy and large number of people.
Market risk is the risk of losses of financial investment caused by adverse price movement. Market risk is the social security system and is speculative because the system financial health is uncertain and dependent on various factors like market volatility and investment return, also it difficult to predict the long-term outcome of investment strategies, requiring policymakers to consider market scenario and adjust their approach to manage potential risks and ensure it's mitigatable. Market risk is fundamental because it has long-term sustainability that affect a long-term number of people and it inherent the uncertainty of financial need.
The social security system faces high investment risk characterized by the potential for losses relative to expected returns. Despite this classification, SSS officials including Commissioner Dayanara Pardo Aguilar and CEO Rolando Bacasait stress a cautious approach to investments. They emphasize the importance of thorough evaluations and a preference for low-risk projects with proven profitability records. Investment strategy: SSS will focus on brownfield investments in established projects rather than high-risk greenfield ventures. Investments will be made only in companies with at least a 3 years profitability history.
Once the risks are identified, the next step is to analyze the risk by assessing its potential negative impact, the scope of the risk, which could be either be particular that affects only particular individuals or small proportion of people, or the fundamental that affects the entire economy or large number of persons, groups, society, or population.
Liquidity risk is a critical risk threat to SSS, which is likely to occur due to dependence on member contributions. A decline in members or collections can severely impact internal operations and member benefits, putting at risk the institution's ability to grant benefits and pay future obligations. And in profitability risk, SSS faces high profitability risk, possibly occurring due to reliance on membership contributions. The impact is major as it determines the fund's sustainability and continuous investment capabilities.
Default risk is expected to occur likely sometimes because although there are loans that will completely be worthless, but there is still a credit control. The impact is moderate because there will be credit control and internal operation control to as much as possible avoid it. Given the probability of occurrence which is likely and the impact which is moderate, default risk is classified as high risk because the written off loans will affect the liquidity and future investment of the institution. In variability risk, it is expected to occur unlikely, which means it will not necessarily happen in normal circumstances because it will base on the labor market participation. It involves monitoring of employment and population increase. The impact of the risk is moderate as it will be subject to projection and there is still mandatory contributions. Given the probability of occurrence which is unlikely, the impact which is moderate, therefore viability risk is classified as moderate risk.
Inflation risk is likely to occur, meaning it is expected to happen at some point because future inflation rates are unpredictable. The impact of inflation is major as it affects the financial operation and investment of SSS, leading to a decrease in overall value and adversely impacting its member contribution. Given its likelihood of occurrence and major impact, inflation risk is classified as critical risk. Market risk is likely to occur due to fluctuation in equity prices, interest rate, and foreign currency value, which are often unpredictable. This put SSS investment at risk. The impact of market risk is major, as this fluctuation can lead to financial losses, given its likelihood of occurrence and major impact. Market risk is classified as a critical risk.
While the likelihood of investment losses exists, the impact is considered minor due to cautious investment strategy. Therefore, it is classified as high risk.
Risk planning. For the credit risk, it is a critical risk. Therefore, the risk response is risk reduction. These are the specific actions to take to mitigate this risk. Number 1. Enhance credit scoring. SSS should enhance their credit scoring to every member who will file for a loan. They should use a credit scoring model to assess each borrower's ability to repay. Number 2. Enhance collection. The SSS needs to have a strong collection and recovery strategy to minimize losses. These are the responsible persons for these specific actions. Number 1 is the loan officer or the financial department. They will be responsible for designing, developing, and implementing the credit scoring model. Number 2, the loan officer and legal department. They will be responsible for the enhancement of collection. Loan officer is responsible in establishing communication channels to contact borrowers through phone, email, and personal visits. These are the resources needed. Technology is important, including software for tracking accounts to identify the credit score of members, managing communication to contact borrowers, and information distribution of the current state of their payment reminder. Trained loan officer or manpower is crucial in dealing with members and to properly channel the communication. Having trained and skillful manpower will ensure to establish a well-rounded set of rules and regulations to ensure that there is enhancement in the loan collection. The timeline for the implementation to credit risk reduction of SSS is targeted to completion by the end of 2025.
Liquidity risk is critical risk and its risk response is risk avoidance. So by implementing risk avoidance, this will help to minimize the potential losses of loans. Its specific action is we have first, maintaining a strong cash flow. Second, diversify financial institutions and funding sources. Third, implement effective inventory and accounts receivable management. Its responsibilities is that the risk management team, the financial officer, and the loan officer will adopt proactive strategy to mitigate financial risk so that SSS will ensure long-term sustainability. Its resources needed is The institution will then have their policies and procedures to manage and minimize its cash outlays. And its timeline is SSS will then meet the targeted plan by the end of 2025. So, we also have profitability risk, which is high risk. Its risk response is risk prevention. So, by preventing the risk of profitability, the organization or SSS will be able to protect their financial performances. And its specific action is we have first, effective cost management. Second, enhancing cash flow management. Third, diversifying financial exposure. Its responsibilities is the Project Management Department, Treasury Department, and the Legal Department will take full responsibility in creating strategy and conducting actions to prevent the risk that may enter into the institution. So its resources needed is by preventing the risk, SSS will build a strong foundation to mitigate the risk and to be successful and survive in a changing business landscape. And its timeline is SSS will continue everything so that they can achieve the financial stability.
Since default risk is at high risk, the risk response used will be risk reduction. To reduce high default risk, the SSS will focus on strengthening enforcement, forming financial stability partnership, and improving contribution collection. Actions include auditing employers and employees, issuing warnings, and imposing penalties for non-compliance, while also enhancing automated payment systems to maintain steady fund flow. Collaboration with financial institutions and the government will provide support during economic downturns. Responsibilities are divided among compliance officers, the legal department, and IT teams to ensure adherence to regulations with a target completion by the end of 2025. To address moderate viability risk, the SSS will focus on risk prevention by promoting broader membership coverage, educating members on the importance of contribution, and improving collection efficiency. Key actions include outreach to underserved groups, public awareness campaigns to enhance compliance and trust, and stricter enforcement of timely payments with transparent processes. Responsibilities are divided among the membership and outreach division, public relation department, and collection and compliance department, supported by trained staff, digital tools, marketing materials, and legal support. The initiatives aims to ensure financial sustainability and meet member obligation with completion targeted by the end of 2025.
Inflation rate risk is critical risk. Therefore, risk response is critical avoidance. There are the specific action to take to mitigate this risk. First is rebalance investment portfolio. Rebalancing the SSS investment portfolio of the regular business will help it take away from assets that are exposed to inflation. Second, adjusting contribution rates. The SSS can critically enhance employer and employee contribute rates to mitigate the possible decline in purchasing power caused by inflation. Third is implementing benefit adjustment. Automatic benefit adjustment based on inflation indexes like the Consumer Price Index or CPI are one option available to the SSS. Resources needed. Human resources such as economics, actuaries, and financial analysts are needed to evaluate inflation rate and modify its strategies, while financial resources are required to invest in diversified and inflation-resistant assets. Timeline. The implementation to inflation rate reduction of SSS is targeted for completion by end of 2025. Market risk is critical risk. Therefore, risk response is risk avoidance. These are the specific action to take to mitigate this risk. First is rebalance investment portfolio. Investment shall be shifted from volatile market sector to low risk, stable assets such as government bonds or other fixed income securities. Second is hedge against option or future to protect against sudden market declines. Second and third is enhance asset diversification. Expand the investment portfolio to include real estate, foreign assets, and other low correlation investment to lower the chance that performance will be affected by local market fluctuations. Responsibility. The Chief Investment Officer or CIO will be responsible for managing the diversification and rebalance strategy for their portfolio. Financial resources will be needed to implement PBM strategy and to obtain safer investment options like bonds. Timeline. The implementation to market risk reduction of SSS is targeted for completion by the end of 2025. The responsibility. The SSS Investment Management and Fund Sustainability Division will be in charge of carrying out this plan.
Risk mitigation strategies. To address investment risk, SSS plans to implement a multifaceted approach that includes diversification, expanding the investment portfolio across various asset classes, government securities, corporate bonds, equities, real estate to minimize potential losses. Robust risk management, stabilizing a sophisticated risk management system with regular portfolio reviews and stress testing to proactively identify and mitigate risk. Clear guidelines. Maintaining documented investment policies that define acceptable risk tolerances and strategies which will be updated regularly. Technology utilization. Leveraging advanced analytics and automated monitoring systems to enhance investment management capabilities. Implementing timeline. The implementation of these risk reduction strategies is targeted for completion by the end of 2025 with a focus on compliance and effective management of investment activities. In summary, while SSS acknowledges the inherent risk in investing, it is committed to a careful and strategic approach aimed at safeguarding its assets while pursuing reasonable growth. Effective risk management is crucial for social security system to navigate uncertain environments and ensure long-term sustainability. Well-structured risk management plan is essential, but equally important is periodic review and evaluation to assess its effectiveness. Monitoring process. The social security system operates in complex financial environment exposed to various risks impacting its sustainability and effectiveness. To mitigate this risk, SSS adopt a proactive and structured risk management approach. Critical risks such as credit, liquidity, inflation, and market risk require monthly monitoring and higher mitigation action, including credit scoring, cash flow tracking, and investment portfolio monitoring. High-risk areas like profitability, default, and investment risk also necessitate monthly monitoring and risk avoidance strategies, including cost management, regular audits, and portfolio monitoring. In contrast, low to moderate risks such as viability risk can be assessed quarterly. To facilitate efficient monitoring and transactions, SSS leverages automated reporting systems, enabling real-time data access, enhanced transparency and productivity, improved decision-making and growth and development. Evaluating of risk. An effective risk management program helps the Social Security system reduce risk by complying with requirements and evaluating risk. To adapt to changing environments, SSS should semi-annually review and update credit, liquidity, profitability, default, viability, market, inflation, and investment risk. It has the following risks, which is credit risk, credit scores and collections, liquidity risk, cash flow, investments, inventory and receivables, profitability risk, cost and cash flow management, default risk, audits, viability risk, members and workers numbers, market and inflation risk, changing market conditions. Investment risk, investment decisions and diversification. The stakeholders involved are the risk management team, compliance officers, and senior management. Annual reviews by compliance officers assess financial status, risk mitigation, and project future cash flows, identifying vulnerabilities and informing operational adjustments. Reporting. The Social Security system adopts a structured reporting approach to risk management, ensuring transparency and informed decision-making, management analysis of local office trends to identify systematic issues, senior management assessment of impact leading to protocol changes, and board incorporation into an annual congressional report. Its regular reporting is monthly operational performance reports to management and quarterly reports to the board, highlighting achievements, challenges, and initiatives. Reports are prepared in a professional format with clear headings, data, concise presentations using visuals, charts, and graphs. This approach empowers stakeholders to contribute to SSS success.